So welcome to What If Naruto was trained by the Grand Priest, Part 4. So Naruto is training with Goku when he senses the Grand Priest presence appear behind him. So he stops his training and turns around. The Grand Priest with a dead calm face would look into Naruto's eyes and tell him, "You might want to get back to your universe. Something very troubling is happening right now." Apparently, they call it the Fourth Great Ninja War. And Naruto would think to himself, "Have I really been gone that long?" And have I really been gone that? Okay, I said that right. So he would then have the Grand Priest take him back to his dimension, and he would be floating above the Shinobi Alliance, staring into Madara's eyes. As Madara would look up at Naruto and ask who the boy was. Naruto wouldn't respond, as he doesn't feel the need to answer to him, as he's just gonna kill him and get on with his life. So Madara would start flying at Naruto, and Naruto would just elbow him in the top of the head, sending him flying down. And then Naruto would appear under him, putting his hand up and catching Madara before slamming him into the ground and punching him repeatedly. Madara was able to fly out of there just in time before any more damage happened. The Grand Priest would notice how this fight was going, and he would have a sinister idea. The idea to finally put his plan into action. The Grand Priest would appear in front of Naruto and kick him in his gut, sending him flying, as he would then make his Dragon Balls appear in his hands. The ones that he had made a couple years ago. Well, not a couple, all those years ago. And he would hand them to Madara, staring him in his eyes, and he would tell him, "Absorb these." And Madara would be hesitant, and he would ask who he was. And the Grand Priest would say, "You might want to hurry. That kid is going to be back, and he's going to kill you if you don't." So Madara, without a second thought, would absorb the Dragon Balls, and his power would grow and grow until he was almost unmatched by no one. The only person that could keep up with him was the Grand Priest himself. Goku would then came from the sidelines, as he was also there with the rest of them. It was he himself, the Grand Priest, and Naruto and Vegeta. As Goku thought he would have just handled this, as obviously Naruto and the Grand Priest have something to sort out. Well, that's what he took it as the Grand Priest just kicked Naruto. But he is still oblivious to the Grand Priest's plans. So Goku would then think he was going to finish this battle pretty easily. So he would throw a strong kick at Madara, but Madara would block, as he would then kick Goku in the stomach, sending him flying into the ground. Goku would try to get up, but he was met with the deathly glare of Madara's Rinnegan, and his legs would be grabbed as he was swung around, launched into the air, and then Madara would appear behind him using sheer, pure speed, elbowing him back into the ground. As Madara would then weave hand signs and yell out fire style, fireball jutsu, as large flames would then engulf Goku. Goku was able to instant transmission out in the nick of time, but he was still burned. And then Madara would appear behind Goku, getting ready to impale him with one of his rods, as he was then met with a powerful punch from Vegeta in Super Saiyan Blue, and Goku would go into Super Saiyan Blue as well. "How pathetic," Vegeta would say. as he would then continue on saying, "This is someone from Naruto's universe, and you can't even take him on in your base." Goku would then say, "You're one to talk. Aren't you? You started this battle in Super Saiyan Blue." And Vegeta would scoff, "I don't need it. It just felt right." As they would then both charge at Madara, both throwing simultaneous punches and being in sync with each other. But they were still no match for Madara, as whenever they would throw punches, Madara would block and then counterattack. But this would give them enough time to the point where Madara couldn't necessarily finish one of them off, as he's still getting a grip on his power. And since there's two of them, if he tries to finish off the other one, the other one might catch him lacking. You know what I'm saying? So this fight goes on for a while until Goku is slapped into the ground and Vegeta is shot with large amounts of electricity, and he then falls to the ground. As Goku would get up and Vegeta would land on his feet, they would begin powering up, shaking the earth. Madara would be scared for a moment, but then he would realize that there's no way they could keep up with him in this new power. In a flash, Goku would appear in front of him, punch him in his face like 10 times before appearing behind him, and Madara felt many punches connect with his back. As he was then sent flying, Vegeta would then meet Madara with a lariat, and this would almost decapitate Madara. Not literally, that was just the strength of the attack, and it would send Madara flying down. As Madara would hit the ground, and both Goku and Vegeta would start charging up their strongest attacks. And right when they were about to connect with Madara, Madara finally was given the full power of the Dragon Balls. And he would put out his hand as both the blasts were dispersed. And he would appear behind Goku. Goku, just barely being able to react in time off of Ultra Instinct alone, was able to turn around and block a kick. But this sent him flying into the ground, making him cough up massive amounts of blood when he hit the ground. Then Madara would appear in front of Vegeta, grabbing him by his hair, pulling his head downwards and kneeing him in the gut before grabbing the back of his head and slamming him into the ground. Naruto would have gotten up and dusted off his clothes as he would see the Grand Priest floating in front of him. "Hey, why'd you kick me?" The Grand Priest would say. "I no longer need you." Naruto would be, "This is some kind of joke, right?" But the Grand Priest would teleport in front of him and push him down to his knees before he would repeatedly start kicking Naruto in his face. Naruto would soon realize that the Grand Priest was serious, and tears would start falling from his face as he is taking one of the most brutal beatings he has ever taken. As the Grand Priest would then put all his power behind this kick Naruto in the chin and send him flying in the air. And when Naruto was about to hit the ground, all of the Grand Priest's ki would swirl around his arm as he would then shove his palm into Naruto's stomach, sending him flying. The Grand Priest would then slowly float towards Naruto, stating that it was fun while it lasted, as he would charge up a ki blast, but then Whis would appear in between them. And Whis, using all of his power, was able to deflect the blast, as the Grand Priest wasn't using his full power. Whis would then say, "Naruto, you have to get up and fight. Goku and Vegeta will die if you don't help them. You must stand up now." As Whis begins to fight his father, he did put up a good fight, but it was soon realized that his efforts were futile, as he was then smacked away by his father, and then stepped on multiple times, leaving him at the brink of death. Naruto has had enough, and he could hear the voice inside of him. It was Kurama. Kurama would say he has an idea. There's this form he has never told Naruto about, and it would usually take his life force, drain his life force, but since he is now essentially immortal, this form won't take away his life force, and he can give Naruto some of his god of destruction energy, as he has become a god of destruction due to Naruto's wish. And Naruto then has another idea that it's kind of risky, but he has no choice. If he wants to beat his master, he has to do it. So he would go into Ultra Instinct, as he would then go into the Baryon mode and stack the Kai energy on top of all of that. Naruto would then dash at the Grand Priest, kicking him in his gut and then uppercutting him in the face, in the chin, sending him flying in the air. As he would then appear above him, the Grand Priest would turn around and block another kick from Naruto, as they would then start disappearing around the world and reappearing, clashing fists, sending shockwaves across the earth. And finally, they would clash fists. They would clash fists once more, and then they would throw a second punch. And these two punches would connect to each other's faces, sending them both flying in opposite directions. Naruto would then yell out Rasengan, as it would start off as a blue, normal Rasengan, but then it would then become a dark purple with a black aura around it, as this was the Hakai energy. And Naruto would appear in front of the Grand Priest, and the Grand Priest would be ready and would have gotten ready to dodge the attack, and Naruto would then appear behind the Grand Priest, slamming the Rasengan into the back of his head. And this would erase the Grand Priest from existence. And Naruto would then look over to a beaten up Goku and Vegeta and dash to Madara. With the last of his energy, he would begin fighting Madara. The fight was pretty one-sided, as Naruto has more experience with Ki and the Ultra Instinct form, and he has had KCM for a while, so the Baryon mode would be pretty easy to get a hang of. And plus this Hakai energy and God of Destruction Ki, it pretty much made him unstoppable, and he was able to defeat Madara. Well, this is the final part. So what if Naruto was trained by the Grand Priest? Hope you liked it. If you didn't, sucks. But Mr. Sato out.